All right, guys, welcome back. As you can see, 49 is in the garage, and the trailer's unloaded.
Well, here we go, let's get those wheels out on the road. It may get dusty, but that's the way she goes. We'll build some greasy old cars and drink our AGD. Hey, don't you know, it's partly built.
Actually, it's taking up less room than I anticipated, which makes me happy. Which means I have all this room in front of it to work, or, you know, put the motorbike, since I probably don't want to leave that outside. Did a little reorganizing. I moved the fab table to where it's completely useless, but I can bring it out here to do any work. I still got to add a bunch more electric to the garage, like a bunch of outlets. And we're going to do some overhead wires to here so I can get some 220. I put the homemade wood stove in the corner. Just got to put it up through the roof and it'll be good. I pulled the hood off. So as you can see, there's a whole bunch of stuff up here that's going to go. Like all this venting into the cab is going to go in the bush. All of these inner fenders are going to go scrap. I might just put bars up along the fenders. We'll see how sturdy they are. There's actually not a bad amount of room here for a radiator. So I know that V12, they really need a good cooling system. They run super freaking hot. So we'll have to do some messing around with that. And as you can see, there's not enough engine bay for that thing, but there's been some very questionable repairs on this car over the years. So there's a good chance we're going to cut the firewall and indent it quite a ways to fit that V12. But first things first, I got to get the bumper, the grille, the fenders, the inner fenders, and all the stuff stripped under the hood here so that I can start figuring out the suspension, because I have a feeling I'm going to have to cut my frame rails and redo the front half of the frame rails. Then I can get the straight axle up under it. Underneath the bench back here behind the hood, we have an old Chevy truck straight axle, some springs for the front, and a 9-inch housing with no center. But I know where there's 1 or 2 centers I can get, so I'm not too concerned about that. So the plan right away is, probably not today, I'm pretty under the weather today. I had a migraine that could kill an ox this morning. Didn't go away until about 1 in the afternoon. But I figured I better get this unloaded so I can take the trailer back to Josh to work tomorrow. And I should load up that rotten old seat and take that to the dump. But I'm excited now it's in the garage. Now I can tinker. I can just meander away at things, do what I need when I need to. And hopefully I can get a fair amount of work done in my spare time, and I'm going to film it. First things first, I just want to focus on getting the front axle under it so then I can figure out engine mounts and steering, and then we can put fenders back on, and we can tinker away at headers and God knows what else. I'm going to have to fully install a new brakes master cylinder. I'm hoping to go to like a modern twin pot one. Well, I'll have to with disc brakes on the front. But I'm hoping I can go to a modern above the floor one, because I think this probably had it down underneath the floor, but I'm not sure. I'll have to do some more research. But yeah, I'm excited. It looks good in here. Okay, well, I still got like an hour before I got to do supper, so I might as well start tinkering. I guess I'll start trying to pull the bumper and stuff off the front. I just got the door shut because it's a little windy. So as you can see, it's pretty dark in here because that's with the garage door opener light on. This end of the shop, not bad. That end, black hole. So I think I'm gonna have to order some garage lights soon so we can see in here, because this is crappy light to work in, let alone film in. But in the meantime, I'm gonna get tinkering our way up there and we'll see how far we get. Okay, as you can see, there is a ton of room in here with those inner fenders and the heater out. So next, the fender's got to come off. I think there's a few bolts at the bottom on each side, and then I might have one left holding this one. Yeah, I got one in there holding this to the grill, and then they can come off, and then the grill and everything can come off. But if you look at this, I peeled off some of this undercoating. That's like new in there, so I don't know if this panel was replaced or what, but that just goes to show you the value of undercoating. Like you can see in there, some spots where the undercoating just peeled is still black. Like that's crazy that worked that well. But like I said, I don't know if those have been changed at some point or not, but That's impressive. So still got about 20 minutes before I gotta go in and have supper. So see if I can get these fenders stripped off now. And then we'll get this thing up in the air on stands. And the next step will be dropping the suspension out of it. All right, sorry I didn't give a few more updates, but it was just undoing a bunch of bolts, and then I had to cut the bumper brackets off because someone welded it to the frame. And being as they welded it, I had one bolt on each side I had to cut that held the front suspension on. But now, the front suspension is removed, inner fenders are gone, the outer fender's in the bumper and the grill. So the inner fender and the front suspension can get loaded up and taken to the trash, because I don't think anybody wants a stock front suspension for a 49. Although it is independent, but, you know. Anyway, it is ready to bring the straight axle over next time, because I'm going to call it a night. That's enough for me for one day. So next time, we'll get the rest of the sway bar out of here. I got to charge my battery for my grinder. We'll get that sway bar out of the way. We'll bring the front axle over and the springs, and we'll see how far off the width is, because I imagine it's completely wrong, but I won't know until we actually try. So anyway, that's where we are for now. Oh, in total, I had to cut one bolt because it was stripped. I broke one bolt, and of course the bumper bolts don't count because that was a mess, but all the fenders, the grill, everything came off with one broken bolt, and one that welded or captive nut clip, whatever they use inside the fender, broke. So considering this thing is 75 years old, I'd call that not too bad. So like I said, it's 5:30. I'm going in the house to have some supper. That's it for tonight. I'm super happy with the progress I made. I got a few things I got to clean up, and then we're ready to start figuring out the front suspension. And then once we figure out the front suspension, we can dig the V12 out from under the table over there, which that's going to be fun. But at least if I have front suspension on this, maybe we can move it around. We'll see. And we can start figuring out what we have to do to the firewall to fit that just little aluminum 5.3 in there. So anyway, we'll pick this up later. All right, so it's Saturday now. Late Saturday afternoon. The day's just been a write-off, really. I'm going to start it on the car again. I think the plan today is to start with front axle and suspension. So let's get going on that. I'm going to start by digging the axle out, taking the springs, getting it through this huge gap of extra space I have in my garage here, up to the front of the car, and we'll see. I guarantee the frame rails are way narrower on the car than the pads are on the axle, and the axle might be too wide, so we got to figure out widths there. We might have to just set the front fenders on. We'll have to see here. But anyway, I'll get this stuff dug out and up front, and I'll pick it up there. So I got the axle moved up front here, and as you can see, the pads are definitely too wide for the frame rails on it. So I got a couple options there. I can either cut the rails farther back, bring them out straight, or I can build hangers off the side of the frame. I got to do a little bit of kind of research each way, see what I want to do there. But the other thing I noticed is my springs probably aren't going to sit too well on my axle here because my bolts are a little oversized for the holes here, so I'm going to have to auger those out a little bigger, but we can test fit it anyway. It's either that or I get some sort of new perch on there, but I don't think that's necessary. So I'm just going to get the springs kind of hodgepodge fabbed on there for now, and we'll slide it under there and see what we think. I may or may not throw some wheels on it too. I do have a spare set in the box of the truck and hopefully some lug nuts to fit it, but I guess there's one way to find out. All right, so after a bunch of screwing around and more than one pinched finger, the width of the axle, I think, is going to work out pretty much perfect with skinny front runners, because I just hung the fender on it, and like it, outside of the fender's about there, but I think with a set of front runners on it, it'll look a lot better. Something like that. Anyway, and I can also like These rims have a little more back spacing than I'll probably run. But as you can see, these springs are way outside my frame. So I got to do some research and see how I want to deal with that. And of course I had to space my springs up from the leaf, or from the axle. So I'll have to get spring perches, like spring mounts for the axle to set it up where I need it. And then I might get wedge plates so I can set my caster proper. But, I mean, as you can see, it'll work. It's just, these are pretty wide. I could also not use that mount. I could put one inside farther. I can narrow the axle. I could have it professionally cut and narrowed. I don't know. I'm going to talk to the buddy, Josh, with his 55 and see what he thinks. I have a feeling he's basically going to tell me to cut the frame rails and put new front frame rails on. And if that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. It's not like it's the most structurally sound car ever built. I mean, the rails are boxed, but they're like sandwich boxed. It's basically C-channel and then a flat plate, which plenty strong. As you can see up here, this car is no stranger to having shoddy repair work done. And I mean, it's all through here, so I'm not sure what happened there, but that would, I mean, if it was in an accident, it would explain some of the better sheet metal on the front end. But anyway, yeah, I gotta get a better look at it. I think that height is about where I want it for ride height, because I'll set the back end down a little bit when we radius the wheel wells. So if I can drop the back end 1.5 inches from where it is, that'll be about the right height. Or I'll bring the front end up another 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I don't know. I got to do a little bit of research on heights and stuff. And then I got to set the engine in and see how bad the springs are going to sink. So I think what I'll end up doing is I'll get my springs hung, and then whatever I use for spacers for mounting the spring to the axle, I'll figure out what I need for a spacer there to get the height I want. The other thing I might do is, these were just trailer springs from Princess Auto. It's kind of what I researched, and everybody said, oh, just go get 1,700 pound trailer springs. I could actually always just go buy proper leaves for the front of a gasser. I might even look into that, hop on Speedway, see what they offer, and see what I get for height. But I'm going to talk to Josh, see what he's running for spring rate, see what he's running for springs on the front of his, see what height his front end sits, and kind of make a few judgments from there, and we'll see. All right, guys, welcome back. We're out here harvesting parts off the parts car because I need a steering column, steering box, back window, I don't know, whatever else I find. I just need stuff. So we'll get started. So I'm using Steven's Hemi car here as a bench because, you know, at least I'm using it for something. He's not using it. So as you can see, this is where the 49 sat for a great many years, probably about 3 for sure. We got the Pontiac here, and other than the vegetation growing in it, which those kind of look like stinging nettles, I should probably grab my gloves. I want to try and get the steering column out of it. Oh good, it was a column shift car. Oh well. We'll try and get the steering column out of it, and hopefully the steering box, if it's still got it. My fenders are better than these ones, and I have a spare set of fenders that may or may not even be for this model of car. And I need to try and cut the, well, it's more like concrete now, but the rubber out of the old back window. And I'll take this back window with me. And we'll dig her. Oh, I see headlight bezels over there. I'm going to be grabbing those. Yeah, this one's in a lot worse shape than mine was, because like I have a floor and quarters. So I have a feeling this was always the parts car for the Chevy. And you know, I'm a Pontiac guy, but I kind of like the Chevy front end, like the grill better. So yeah, I'll go grab my gloves out of the car, and I better make sure I got my grinder with me, because I have a feeling the bolts aren't going to come out of this one very nicely. But we'll start stripping the column and stuff out of it. So I got the back glass out of it, as you can see. That went actually really good. I just cut what was left of this rotted old seal, but I was digging through that box there. It's full of all kinds of interior chrome and stuff, so I'm going to be taking that. And then ADD brain here. There's one hell of a dump bee nest in here, so I'm glad it's like -2 on October 22nd here, so I don't have to worry so much about that. Oh, look, ADD brain again. It's got signal lights. Oh, they kind of work. So that saved me 30 bucks right there. So next step, I guess, is, well, first I'll dig that box out of the trunk and the headlight bezels, or at least the one I can see. And then we'll start ripping this column out, which includes vegetation control. We can see the steering box and the column. So I'll have to figure out how to get the rods. Well, looks like they're cotter pinned on. Pull the shift rods off, and I don't think I have anything I need to try and undo this steering linkage, but it'd be nice to pull this cotter pin and screw out this nut. Oh, this cotter pin, screw this nut out the end, and then keep that control link, which I think is actually still on my front end. But it'd be nice if I could reuse some of the steering, but I don't, like, we're hoping to use that steering box and that column, but that might be wishful thinking because this is actuated differently than my front axle wants. So short of including all this BS in the middle, I don't actually think that's going to work. I might just have to buy a steering column or harvest one out of something else out here, which is kind of sadness because I was really hoping to use that and then I could have fit it in the dash. But I mean, it's not like we're worried about making a correct restoration. We're making a gasser. So like the steering wheel's getting changed anyway. I was going to ditch the 3-on-3 shifter, but I think what we're going to end up doing is just pulling a column out of like an 80s truck or something like that with auto canceling signals and stuff, because this car is meant to go on the road, right? And then the other thing I would like to get, never mind, I changed my mind. I don't want to deal with this brake pedal assembly. I'll just buy the Speedway one because they have a kit that bolts right into my frame. And actually I haven't been under my car. I should check if I even have the brakes. I know the brake pedal is missing, but the master might be there. But now that I'm here in the daylight, like it was dark by the time we got here and loaded up last time, I'm so glad I took the Chevy and not the Pontiac. Aside from the mangled roof, everything about this car is just in horrendously worse shape. Although it does have the horns. Not that I would have space for them, but... So yeah, I think we're going to call our quits on the column. And we're going to go shopping for parts and see what we can find. Alright, so my parts finding mission kind of was a flop. I did find a few steering columns in trucks, but he's got a couple cabs without columns in them, so I wonder if he's got columns kicking around. He's not home. I'll have to text him and see what he's got going on. Plus, I saw a vehicle I might have to buy just for a daily driver. We'll see. And I found there's a Shelby Daytona over here, and the seats in it might be good seats for a race car, at least for now, because if they're 20 bucks, that's a lot cheaper than buying some. So I'll show you. So we have a fine specimen of Dodge over here, but I mean, it's a turbo and it's a Shelby, but it has like fake leather and fake suede Shelby seats. So those might actually work pretty good in the gasser. And then, like I said, I found a couple columns, but I'm going to see if he's got some that are already tore out. But yeah, found some seats. So we'll see what else we find out here. There's also a 5-speed truck over there with a column in it that might work for what I need. It's a little newer column than I want. Like, it's an early 90s column, so there's a lot of shitty plastic on it. And then there's also like a 60s Chevy pickup over there, but it doesn't have the canceling signal lights. Well, it doesn't have signal lights at all. And in my opinion, if I'm going to go to the trouble of getting a big bulky new column, it might as well have signals, or else I could just modify the one in the Pontiac. So I don't know. I'm just throwing some ideas around. All this stuff here isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And I mean, if I dug hard enough, I could probably find something in the crush pile too. But I don't want to if I don't have to. So I don't know. We'll do some messing around, see what we can find. But I did get my glass and some chrome stuff. I dug through that whole box in the trunk, and I pulled out the headlight bezels. Are not as good a shape as I was hoping, but Josh might be able to pound those a little better. I can use them. Found door handles, the chrome trim for the radio. Found the quarter glass, like for the quarter window, for the door that neither car has. So, I don't know, that might be hard to find. I better take that with me. I mean, I know a bunch of the crap that's in here, so if I'm missing some chrome stuff that I need, I'll just come dig through the back of the car. And I don't think there's anything in this interior I need, because the whole gauge cluster and everything's different, but he told me it's not going anywhere anytime soon either. So there's also more window trim and stuff in the back, which, I mean, the thing about it is, parts on this car are also, like, stuff in this car is also out of my car, because I think, like, they came from the same place. So I gotta kind of inventory what I got, see what I need as far as the bright work. But like, all the Pontiac chrome won't work because it goes at the top of the glass, whereas my chrome goes along the center, like the belt line. So I don't know, we'll see. There's still a bunch of crap in this trunk. I know I took a mental inventory, so I'll forget by the time I turn around, but I kind of know what's in there. So I'm gonna clean up my mess here, get it over to the car, and then maybe he's home. I can ask him about some of the other stuff out here, and gotta make a plan from there. So yeah, it wasn't exactly a huge success on our shopping mission, but I did get glass and chrome and a few things, and I saw some stuff I gotta ask about. Just him not being here, I don't want to just go rip stuff out of things, because I've done that before, and then he's like, well, that was a runner, I was going to try and sell that, and I'm like, sorry. Turns out that I ended up eventually buying that engine, but it doesn't matter. The point is, he's not here, so I'm not going to take anything I didn't already have permission to take, and that's just a good rule of thumb. So I'll get this stuff home, and I guess once I talk to him, maybe we'll be back out here pulling more parts. But if we do, you'll see it. So I just got home and I was gonna start unloading my stuff, and I guess I'm a liar, because the chrome does go in the same spot on the Chevy as it looked like it did on the Pontiac, so I might be able to use all that. So that's good news. Yeah, I'll get everything unloaded and just keep stacking this place up to the roof. I gotta go see Steven tomorrow after work and load up all my stuff I still have in his old shop, and grab an extra engine stand for the V12. So I mean, I can barely move around in here as it is, so yeah, it's gonna get real cozy in here now. All right, well, good morning. It's, I don't know, Saturday the 26th now. I went to Steven's shop on Wednesday night after work, and I got most of my stuff out of there. I think all of it, I'm not sure. And a few things that weren't mine that I just grabbed because he said I could. So I'm going to get the truck unloaded this morning, try and get everything, well, mostly everything into the garage, and I'll kind of show you what we got. All right, so we got a truckload of stuff here. I got these fenders like 4 years ago when I got that old Buick, that 79, because I thought, hey, they look like they'd fit the 49. I didn't even own the car at the time. Hadn't paid for it, hadn't picked it up, hadn't done nothing. And you might not believe this, but they are perfect. They are the exact fender for this car. The only thing about them is, actually, they might be in as good or better shape. So look at that. I got an extra set of front fenders with the chrome. So let's go. That's exciting. What else do we got in here? And the small block intake and valve covers. Got my little, I don't know what you'd call these. Little shelving units full of random parts. I got these Mustang rims. We're going to try throwing them on the Galaxy so we can roll the Galaxy around, because Josh sold his place, which means we got to move the Galaxy to be able to actually fix it. And as you can see, it's starting to rain this morning now. So I'm gonna get going, hauling everything out. Got the welder home, the generator, a spare engine stand that is heavy enough for the V12, my welding cart, and some old carburetors. Well, they're reman carburetors, still in boxes, but they're old. So yeah, I'm gonna quick get this all hammered out and into the garage. All right, we got everything unloaded out of the truck that I care about for now. The generator will have to go in the garage, but the engine stand is going to sit outside anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, we got the fenders, and I forgot that I had a clutch too. I got one of Steven's old clutches, which should work for the ZF, hopefully in the Galaxy. So that'll probably just go in the back of the Crown Vic with the rest of the Galaxy stuff. The welding cart, I'll get the welder unloaded and set up on the cart. I gotta figure out what I'm doing with this. The smaller one can hang on the wall. It's got slots on the back to hang. I might just end up getting some shelving arms and hanging this up like a shelf. But yeah, we took an already crowded garage and we made it worse. So stacked all the carburetors up there, intake manifold. I gotta figure out what I'm doing with the valve covers. I don't do small block stuff anymore, so these are just decoration now. My dad had a set of these old Holley valve covers, and I looked for years, and this is the only set I ever found of old ones. And years ago, I vapor blasted them, painted them, and then machined the fins back down to bare aluminum and cleared them. So I'd like to keep them. I put some effort into them, and they have a little bit of nostalgia and meaning to me. So I think they'll make good wall hangers. I'll put them up high somewhere. I really need to clean this poor bench off. Figure out what I'm doing with everything here. I got this small block Ford 302. Didn't know what I was going to do with it when I got it. Now I really don't know what I'm going to do with it, and it's completely in my way. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that. But I think we're going to spend an hour or so this morning, and we're just going to do some organizing and cleaning, because like I can barely get in between the car and the motorbike right now. I mean, I got to narrow this axle anyway, so I could pull it out of here and put it in the back of the truck. But I don't know if I got to pick up stuff from Josh's tomorrow. So I kind of want to keep as much out of the truck as I can so that I got room to haul stuff. But anyway, I think I'll start with setting the welder up, and we'll find somewhere to put it. And I will clean off my shelf back, or my table back there, and maybe I'll organize the shelving, and maybe I'll clean up over here a little bit with all the gardening stuff and whatnot, and see if I can't get this motorbike moved over tight to the wall. And this stupid pop machine, I tried to sell it, but I had everybody messaging me, oh, will you drive it to Athabasca for free and I'll give you $100? No, I won't. You come pick it up and I'll make you a deal. I got tired of dealing with people, so I unlisted it. So it might just go to the frickin' dump, because it is huge, it is heavy, it is in my way. I thought it would be cool in my garage, and it would be if my garage had any space in it at all. But anyway, I'm going to get organizing and cleaning. Okay, so now that the truck's unloaded and we have a modicum of organization in the garage and I can actually get through here. The welder's all unpacked and up at the front. I mean, my welding table's still over here where it's completely useless, but I may pull it out and slide the mower over. I gotta take the engine crane back to work. That'll give me a little more room up in this corner, but there's no plugins here yet. That's another thing I gotta do that we wanted to do before winter, but now that Josh is in the middle of cleaning up his yard to sell it and trying to get moved into a new place, I don't think we're going to worry too much about wiring my garage this winter or this fall. So anyway, there's a little bit of organization in here. I have a feeling I'll be bringing my toolbox home from Josh's, so that piece of crap can go. Sell it, give it away, something. But I hate that toolbox. It's horrible. Anyway, I'm hoping Josh doesn't make me take everything out of his shop. Hopefully he's got a place for some of it, but we're going to find out. And worst case scenario, if the Galaxy has to come home, I do have one parking spot left to put it in. So I can make that work for now, but that's kind of a wait and see kind of deal. But in the meantime, I think we'll call it there. I don't know the next time I'll be working on this even, because I don't have any parts on order. I don't have any plans to do this axle anytime soon because Josh is in the middle of a move, so he'll be the man helping me with it. So in the meantime, I might just work on the Galaxy. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll work on the bike. I've got big plans for it and little motivation and even less skill. So we'll see how that goes. But I would like to get the old bike going again because, well, it's been a long time. I think I rode that when I was 21 and I don't think I've rode it since. So yeah, it's been sitting a long time. I've done some stuff to it. There's more stuff to do to it, but if we go on that, I'll give you the breakdown on it. But in the meantime, I think that's it, guys. We'll call it a day. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.